Okay. The next one is the informational one. And if you remember, we took notes on organizational patterns. So the question is, choose an organizational pattern that you notice in how to climb a mountain. Oops. In how to climb a mountain, and explain how structuring the essay in this way helps to develop the writer's message. Provide some commentary to explain your thinking. So think about organizational patterns. If you go back to our notes, we'll talk about that here. There's compare and contrast, right? Tell how things are the same, how they're different. Cause and effect. Tell about a problem and what happens because of it. Procedural. How to do things like fix a lawnmower, bake a cake, etc. Persuasive. Convince the reader to believe or act a certain way. Description. Tell about a problem or issue. And finally, narration, right? A narrative. You're just telling a story. It may be fiction or nonfiction. Okay, so let's read the second one. How to climb a mountain. I climbed it because it was there. That's the answer English mountaineer George Mallory gave when asked why he wanted to climb Mount Everest. Mallory's famous quote echoes the feelings mountain climbers have had through the centuries. Just seeing snow capped peaks is enough to make them want to lace up their hiking boots. But it takes more than just desire to be a successful mountain climber. Many books have been written about mountain climbing. Some are how to manuals, some are detailed accounts of actual ascents, but each can help the would be climber know a little bit about what to expect when attempting to climb a mountain. After doing some research, experts suggest you start out on something manageable, like a hill, or even an artificial rock climbing wall if possible. The first thing to assess is whether or not you are in good enough physical condition to climb a mountain. Even if you are healthy and in relatively good shape, that doesn't necessarily mean you are in climbing condition. The challenges confronting a person while climbing are much different from those they may face during their regular exercise routine. Beyond the physical condition is the mental stamina a climber must possess. To continue pushing onward when all your muscles are screaming at you to stop and the air is so thin it's hard to breathe is a difficult thing that requires much training. Here are some basic facts you should learn before attempting a climb. Belaying. Ever wonder what's to keep a beginning climber, or even the most advanced climber, from making deadly missteps? Belaying is the answer. Ropes and pulleys are used to limit the distance a climber falls. Two people are usually involved in belaying, but it's also possible to belay. Communication. Knowing the language of climbing is essential to keeping yourself and your companions safe on the mountain. And rappelling. This is a technique for descending a mountain on a fixed rope using a friction device. What kind of training you do depends on what kind of climbing you're planning. Winter climbing requires different techniques from the ones needed for spring and summer climbing. Climbing a Vermont mountain in July is very different from scaling the Himalayas in December. One difference with winter climbing is being aware of possible avalanches and knowing how to dig an ice cave for shelter if necessary. The gear necessary for a climb is also unique to the particular time and place it takes place. An ice pick is a very important piece of equipment for icy peaks, but would be unnecessary baggage in a warm weather climb. Hundreds of mountaineering deaths occur each year around the world. The dangers in climbing are twofold. The first is an objective hazard, right? Think of objects, objects in your way. These are hazards that exist whether the climber is on the mountain or not. Objective hazards include avalanches, inclement weather, and similar events that are outside the control of the climber. The second set of dangers, subjective, right? Subject has to do with you. Hazards refer to factors over which the climber should have control. These include equipment failure, missteps due to lack of attention, fatigue, and inadequate or poor technique. Whether objective or subjective, these hazards can all have serious consequences. While it's true that objective hazards are out of the climber's control, Such dangers should still be considered when assessing the threat they can cause. This is especially true with the twin hazards of weather and altitude. Being aware of current and impending weather patterns on the mountain is as important to safe climbing as making sure your ropes aren't frayed. Even then, every climber knows that weather becomes more and more unpredictable the higher you get. Although the weather can change with alarming speed, problems derived from altitude should never sneak up on a climber. It is hard to overstate the misery, not to mention the health risk, associated with extreme altitudes. An experienced mountaineer knows that the peril imposed by altitude sickness can end not only the climb, but could also end his or her life. Some people undertake mountaineering as a way of challenging themselves mentally and physically in ways they can't in any other endeavor. Others enjoy the element of danger that scaling extreme heights brings. Whether climbing as a professional, for a sport, or as a hobby, it's important to have the right equipment and know what you're doing before you start. Unless you're prepared, never climb a mountain just because it's there. All right, so let's think about it again. What organizational pattern do you see? Compare and contrast, cause and effect, procedural, persuasive, description, or narration. Pick the one that you think best fits it. Answer this question, right? Remember to use the key words. Organizational pattern that I notice is, and this helps develop the writer's message by, explain, give details, provide commentary, and then you're ready to do the rest of the test. All right. Thank you for paying attention. Thank you for working through these. And if you need any help or anything else, be sure and message me. Have a great day. Bye bye.